one for me to determine for myself, but just based off of what we've seen, honestly, the thing for me is Raise Bowl. The thing for me today, at least, is Raise Bowl. You know, I've got my MVPs on these teams, and as well as I think Lost and Yance have been doing, I think Complexity has it in them to take this one. But I guess we'll see, and it looks like we're heading right into the game.
Time for game number 1. Still best of 5s from here until the grand final, so I think people do need to, you know, keep their expectations measured because this should be a pretty quick pace back end It's one that FURIA takes the goal first. I'm not sure. Oh, wow, all of Complexity dove on that. Never mind, I figured it out.
Yep, I was going to say that was 3 members on the ball, and none of them got control, and that is never a situation that you want to have in Rocket League. So FURIA, in just 12 seconds, managed to take that one away. It wasn't even a kickoff goal, right? Not considered a kickoff goal. It was still a play after the kickoff, but definitely a way to start the series, that's for sure, FURIA.
It's a way. It's also over a spot. Hello? Is this real? Are we real? Is this actually happening? How did this go in?
I told you, Raise Bowl is the reason that I picked Complexity. Raise Bowl has been insane today. We just have to see if, again, that momentum, that consistency is able to carry through. I love it. Those are my favorite goals. Those angles, chef's kiss.
It's a nice angle. It's just one that I was expecting FURIA to be a bit more prepared for, but I guess the pace of play taking both teams by surprise here. We've had a little bit of a break, as you guys know. We took a quick break here, as well as the players took a quick break to get ready before their next series. And, well, they come into this one a little bit more measured than I was expecting. For two teams with traditional South American styles where you kind of just dive at the ball with utmost aggression and speed, it's a bit surprising to see both of them a little bit reserved. And if we are seeing dives, it's double or triple commits. So very miscoordinated in ways I was not expecting. But you know what? We're all leveled here with about a minute gone. So maybe now we can get back to some of our more standard play, if you will. Going to start off with FURIA, looking to try and keep some offensive momentum here. Instead, actually out of midfield, AJG is going to be enough of a nuisance to allow Raise Bowl a shot on target. Clear out from Lost, but it's not going to get clear more than midfield here as AJG comes diving in to only get a bump, but not the demo. And touch to the backboard, not going to be enough. And again, another light double commit out of Complexity, but a little bit disjointed on both sides. It almost works out for Complexity with a follow-up from Raise Bowl, but either way, both teams still taking a little while to warm up here in game number 1.
Hey, you know what? That's what these teams are great at, though, right? We talked about it. I think it was, what was it? It was the second series, I think, of the day that we had between Gen.G and FURIA, talking about not even that you know, it was overwhelming team plays. It was these individual plays, right? The prowess that they had for kind of this solo and stylish. I think style was the word that Dia had used for it. And now we have two styling teams that are both, you know, trying to prove something for themselves, but also know that it's not the end-all be-all because there is still that lower bracket that they can fall to.
Oh, the end-all be-all, though, is definitely not a place that you want to be at. That lower bracket has been scarier and scarier the further we've gone into this one. We've talked about it before, and we'll talk about it again. OpTic Gaming with a run of a lifetime through the lowers here, getting knocked down immediately by Spacestation, then beating Gen.G, beating version 1, and now awaiting the winner of Spacestation versus FaZe Clan. So, the lower bracket is definitely no easy place to be either, as much as this upper bracket has been an absolute toil with shots like that being necessary to make it in. I don't think anybody wants to go down there. Complexity definitely don't. What an angle out of CRR.
It's these angles, man. Up and around the corner. That one was absolutely gorgeous. And you know what? Actually, the ball moved a lot faster than I would have thought coming off of that touch. So Complexity has that momentum again going for them. Right off the bat, we get the kickoff demo. It's in favor of FURIA. They're going to transition this one into a play. AJG, though, up in the air. Going to make that challenge go in his favor. And it's a pass over to CRR. No way! And it's now a 3-1 lead in favor of Complexity.
Uh-oh, and this is something we've seen before. When Complexity start to get the momentum in their favor, they are very hard to stop. Even with a defender in net like Yan, you have to try and snipe the narrowest of angles. CRR opted to go for the left-hand side, knowing that the entire team is expecting him to shoot right. When he just slots that by the post and by the defender, FURIA can do nothing but look onward as they see themselves now down 2 with 2 minutes to go. I do expect a response out of FURIA. They do not go down easily, and they, oh my goodness, even rip solid shots on target. The defensive Complexity, too great here, at least for now. Off the bar, where's the follow? Not gonna make it in, barely saved. That touch from AJG will be enough, and Complexity hold on to their 2-goal lead.
Oh my goodness, That was just back-to-back dramatic episodes right there for FURIA. Complexity able to pull things through. Again, Racebull just popping off. It's going to pop it over the head of one member right there, CRR. Maybe trying to pass this one up, but it doesn't end up bouncing off the back wall. That means Racebull is going to go for one of those fancy angles, trying to pass it down to AJG. Not getting the correct shot, but it's still a good play for Complexity. FURIA trying to take control of this one. Lost is going to find a little bit of a pass, but it bounces just too much off of the side of Yan. Complexity holding this one pretty firm.
They're holding on, but it definitely still feels like there are openings for FURIA here. I'm not sure if those openings are ever going to be actually, taken advantage of, if you will, but I'd like to hope that FURIA can at least maybe get a goal for the road. Instead, it's actually going to be Complexity on yet another offense. That's awkward out of Yan. Bit of a weird miss, but he's able to recover for himself and put it to the backboard, where, unfortunately, more players from Complexity are waiting. He just send this right back on target. That's a bit of an off play out of CRR. That's going to be enough. I can barely get the words out of my mouth because I wasn't expecting the CRR launches early. Can't get a touch. That's an easy goal for FURIA.
Yeah, the demo also as the distraction there in the corner. Nice response there from Card, and that's another one of those patient plays that FURIA has excelled at. Now with 44 seconds, FURIA and their fans feel a lot better considering now there's only a 1-goal differential and they have the opportunity right here to make a play. They got the power opportunity thanks to getting that demo from Card. But FURIA was not far enough forward. That's not a ton of boost that Ian has, so he's not going to be able to hit the second touch off of that one. Complexity still feeling good as Card lands another shot on goal. They got to transition this one over. Can FURIA immediately go back to defense? They are able to turn that one away. CRR a bit disappointed. Ooh!
Oh, no! Ooh, AJG would have been more than disappointed had he owned goal to end this game. They're still not out of it yet. Calamity in front of the net as FURIA collapses to look for a goal. Shot on target! And with 2 seconds to go, we have yet another late dagger that could send us to overtime.
No way. This has got to. Unless there is a kickoff goal right here, it is absolutely overtime. Honestly, just literally a minute ago, it was 3-1. FURIA's recovery speed is incredible. And if they're going to be able to take this one in overtime, absolute insanity here. Complexity, luckily, they got the opportunity to adjust accordingly because they are in the same position here. But FURIA is starting it off hot.
Yeah, it's not great for Complexity, though. They don't want to let the momentum that they built early all of a sudden just dissipate like this and give FURIA what I would say is an easy entrance back in. In the first goal, probably shouldn't have happened. It is CRR misjudging that touch that should have gone to the backboard and never getting a touch of his own. And the second goal is, well, you guys witnessed that one. You can try and describe it for yourselves because I don't really know what happened. It was chaos abundant, and unfortunately for FURIA, or excuse me, for Complexity, they weren't able to survive it. So, FURIA right now, not looking too bad. It looks like they're back into this game, but a lot of it off the mistakes of Complexity. If Complexity can tighten those up here in overtime, who knows if they'll get another chance. CRR with a chance here, though. Denied by Lost on the ceiling. That dive's going to be enough to turn it out to midfield, but not much further. Complexity now starting to go back to their old ways, but they need to be careful. CRR misjudges this one, and that'll do it. FURIA, again, take advantage of the misdirection here on defense, and will win the first overtime.
Absolutely nutty. And it's Lost, of course. The guy I've been calling out all day, just who has been absolutely popping off. Yans gets the MVP on that one, no big surprise. Let's take a quick look at those stats. Everybody on the side of FURIA at least participating there, getting one of those goals. Things looked really good for Complexity at the start of that, and that last 1 minute of the game, FURIA decided that they were not playing around anymore.
No, FURIA turned it up another notch, and honestly, that's kind of what you expect out of FURIA, is once they do start to find that confidence, they are a team that have no hesitation. They dive on everything, and it's what's problematic for a lot of teams when facing them, is that if you do make little mistakes, they are so quick to close those gaps. Very similar to Gen.G, but many days they've been bested by Gen.G. Many days they've been bested by Complexity, but here and today, they're starting off the series with a bang, and it's a comeback one at that. Again, 3-1 is the scoreline we saw before eventually FURIA started putting in their own punches and took us to an overtime off of a heartbreaking last-second goal. I don't know if I guarantee that they're going to be able to get away with that throughout the rest of the series, though. It still kind of feels like Complexity are warming up a little bit, and once they do get warm, I wonder how much FURIA is going to be able to afford to just make goals off of mistakes rather than earning them themselves.
Yeah, I guess, the side of it that I've also been looking at is just considering FURIA's, I would say, recovery, right, in all of the games that we have seen them play today. And not only that, but their consistency and their ability when, even if they do drop a game, to take even just that 30 seconds in between games to recover and to figure out what's going wrong. I can see the consistency potentially, remaining here for FURIA. And if that's the case, right, if Complexity hasn't hit their stride and FURIA already have, right, these are two teams where at this point, if you're one whole game in and you still haven't quite hit your stride against the team, that's not really a great sign, right? It just means that FURIA is going to continue to excel a little bit faster than Complexity in this instance.
Well, we'll find out. Game number 2 officially underway. FURIA, like we said, have that single game lead, but now can they make it into 2 and potentially try and find themselves match point? Goals like that absolutely will help. FURIA, again, another early goal in their favor.
Yep. And it's lost again. Card with a great setup, and once more too, they have that aggressor in the front. They're in Card to be the disruptor, to be there to do some bumping, to just get any sort of honestly any sort of confusion going on, and it's really setting Complexity back. They don't really know who to respond to in that instance.
Unfortunately, Complexity haven't had many responses to what FURIA has come out with, because although FURIA's goals have not been the cleanest, they have at least happened in comparison to Complexity, who have tried their darndest to try and find goals, or at least openings on offense, and really haven't been able to do much. Again, their 3 goals they found early in that first game, and after that, it was all FURIA for 3 uncontested in a row. So Complexity, got a lot of self-searching you got to do here. You got to dig deep down and try and find a way to maybe try and counter this playstyle to FURIA, because they are running a muck on your final third, and you guys don't seem to be all too comfortable with it. Again, comfortability a huge factor in Rocket League. It's a very mental game, and if you are feeling good, you're going to play good. And if you're not, it's going to be a scramble like we're seeing here out of Complexity. Multiple dives at the ball, none of them turning into clears off of the half. Maybe this one can be a bit different, but FaZe, no boost in the tank. Eventually he'll pick up that 100 in the corner, but again, this is the issue. Complexity just so uncomfortable in their own half, whether it be rotations or boost. They just don't seem to have the advantage against an overwhelming FURIA.
Complexity, literally, they need to take a step back and they need to take a breath. Because that's something I've been commending that I keep talking about for FURIA is the patience that they have with these plays. I feel like Complexity is trying to match the speed of FURIA, but they're not including the patience in some of those moments, right? As the aggressor on the attempt at taking a shot or making some sort of execution here. So Complexity, take a step back, take a breath. FURIA's only got 1 goal as an advantage right now, and we are still seeing really good plays. But I just need to see, like you were talking about, not just the confidence in them, but sincerely just patience. Literally just taking a tiny moment of time to ensure that they're making the right moves.
Oh boy, they also got to make saves like that. Solid one out of FaZe, but I can't help but agree with you on this one, Jolly. It kind of feels like we're seeing a lot of these boomer balls downfield where FURIA just have their last defender waiting in order to try and send it right back into the Complexity half versus Complexity, who are sending the house. Good example, AJG pushed all the way up to the final third, and now Card, all he has to do is body block so that Lost can get a breakaway. Again, Complexity, impatience bites them as all 3 players on the front half, and FURIA, an easy counter the other way.
And, it's also a lot of boost control, right, that is currently being held by FURIA, which means when it is a play like that, Complexity is only able to get maybe 1 person back down on the rotation. And like I said, that whole Lost in the back with ball control, Card in the front to be the aggressor, that has been their play that has worked over and over again. If you've only got 1 member there, you're not going to be able to defend past these guys. So maybe more boost control as well is something that Complexity needs to focus on to be able to stop FURIA from being able to turn some of these plays so quickly.
Yeah, it definitely feels like, unfortunately for Complexity, it's every little thing, the minute details that are just not going in favor of them versus a FURIA who, I wouldn't even say that they've been overwhelming when it comes to their boost control. They've just been doing better, and when they do make those dives, they're not wasting all of their tank and their resources in order to try and make those counterattack happen. Whereas Complexity, they're having to expend every little bit of boost, every little bit of rotational dives that they can just to maybe get them a bit off guard, and it's really not working out. You can see this again, Complexity struggling to get out of the half. Eventually CRR will get somewhat of a clear, but he has to use his entire tank for it. Now Raiseball in the follow-up dive is met by Yan. Again, FURIA just seem to have a wrap on this game. Oh my goodness. As soon as I say that, though, Complexity finally do get their first blow of the game, and it's CRR with a beautiful shot. Is this going to be enough to start the comeback, though, Jolly?
I don't know. The caster curse is in play now. You see Lost and Card just whiff right past that one. And I think actually the scary thing, and I think the reason that they didn't get the save on that was because they both, it was like one of those things where both, players say mine, and then both of them think the other person is going to get it, right? So they both kind of wavered off of the objective there. And you know what? Those are the things, hey, if you can take advantage of that as Complexity, do it. There's a minute 10 seconds left into this one. It's still best of 5, so if FURIA takes this, it is match point. Complexity really needs to make a change right now, and this is a move in the right direction.
It's a move in the right direction, but I just gotta wonder if it's gonna be enough of a move that they can actually close this one out and at least send us to another overtime. Not with backflips like that at a raise bowl. Still gonna stay on the ceiling though to maybe try and cherry pick this one, but with not a lot of boost in the tank, something we've been talking about many times throughout the day. What can they do differently? Pass out center, not gonna be enough. Card will cut that out, but now it looks like FURIA might actually be lacking boost, although double commit there out of Complexity will give them more than enough time now to recollect those pads and try all over again. FURIA, unfortunately, just seemingly have every single thing going in their favor, while Complexity struggle to keep up. Another goal for FURIA, and this should be the one to solidify that 2-0 lead on the series.
Absolutely. 30 seconds, not a lot of time, but it's not even that. It's literally just FURIA's looking so good. Right? If it was Complexity looking just a little bit better, I'd say, oh yeah, absolutely. You know, this one's still up in the air. But right now, FURIA is just looking too clean, and they're really throwing. Oh my gosh, they're throwing Complexity off, and it's good plays. They're still coming through with great plays, but FURIA is just too quick, and their defense is too strong.
It's a bit unfortunate. It definitely feels like a little bit of a kick in the gut here for every single Complexity fan to know that this team has been playing not poorly, but it just feels like FURIA have their number at every single one of these plays. Even on moments where they do have some good offense, it feels like FURIA have been so prepared on defense, so they prepared for this one, though. CRR comes diving off the backboard, but the results will stay the same. FURIA up 2-0 on the series here in our upper bracket final. Winner of this one guaranteed at minimum second place, which is going to be, I believe, $3,000 at minimum. It could be FURIA. They're one away from moving to that grand final.
Oof, one away. You know, we haven't had, we've had 4 full series today, right? This is the 5th series of the day. We have 7 total that we're going to cover. We haven't had a single series go to all 5 games, at least on broadcast here. We have had a couple 4-game series. We have had a couple of sweeps. But this one's looking to kind of follow that trend, just based on the fact that FURIA hit their stride in that first game. Complexity kind of started to hit it, sort of at the beginning of that game number 2, but it just didn't work out. In game number 3, for sure, it felt like a FURIA game all around. Even the one goal that was made against them, it felt kind of like a fluke, right? Like they just kind of whiffed that kind of situation, just given the timing, but. I don't know, Complexity needs to change a lot. Like, I'm not going to lie. At this point, it's definitely what you were saying, the little things, right? They have to go back to basics, and they legitimately have to buff up all of those basics, right? The communication clearly needs to be improved. The rotations need to be tightened a little bit, and then that boost management also needs to be at the forefront of their minds. But it's so hard to prioritize multiple, like, everything, right? Instead of just saying, all right, was our one weakness. And there were definitely more than one weakness for Complexity.
I mean, if I'm ever going to root on a team to try and at least try and pull themselves back here halfway through the series, is going to be Complexity. The unfortunate reality is, though, is that even if they do pull themselves back, they got to win 3 straight. A reverse sweep necessary to keep themselves in the upper bracket here for Complexity. So, let's see what they got. Game number 3 here, this best of 5. It's going to be FURIA starting off with a fake kickoff. It doesn't exactly work out in their favor, but they're still keeping Complexity on their toes. And I will say this much. If you're Complexity, you are frustrated with already the mind games being thrown out after the first kickoff.
It's hard to be patient when this is your opponent, right? If the opposition is just staunching every single one of your attempts at recovery, and then really just kind of like spitting it back in your face, man, it's really hard to keep your mental up and to continue to tell yourself that there is recovery and the ability to, you know, take over a team like that. This is Complexity's last chance, though, if they want to stay in the upper bracket. And like we've been talking about, Bass, that lower bracket is looking very, very scary with some top-tier teams. Complexity, though, yet to make one just yet.
I cannot help but feel for Complexity here. Even when they're starting to put on solid shots, it is still FURIA who just seem to be that little bit better. Their first goals of this game just completely denied as FURIA make multiple saves on their back line, and we go a minute removed without a goal so far. In over 1, not over 2, but it can at least get to 50-50. But I'll now set up Lost on the follow-up. He's got no boost in the tank, but he's got HAG passing it back to Raise Bowl. There's the aggression I guess we were hoping for out of Complexity. It doesn't necessarily turn into a solid string of plays, but they're getting a bit more creative. And again, this is what we were talking about. If you want to beat FURIA, you got to beat them at their own game. You have to be as fast as this team and not get caught off guard. Feels like Complexity finally starting to do that here in game number 3.
It needs to happen if they want to be able to continue to do that in the upper bracket here.
Ooh.
A nice little that was absolutely insane. Hold on, I gotta watch that again. I think that was Yan literally got in front of the ball to get the bump onto CRR. What? This is insanity.
And then he also immediately goes bounty hunting for RazeBull afterwards as well. He doesn't necessarily get the bump, but he gets enough in the way to where RazeBull can't make a save. And again, this is the issue for Complexity. They always seem awkward when FURIA attack, because FURIA keep getting these breakaways where they've got players on Complexity on their back heel. They don't know how to escape said back heel tuck-in that they keep going for, and Complexity, as a result, succumb to the pressure. FURIA have been playing this like a masterclass. This is maybe not the most overwhelmingly in favor game we've seen all day, but it dang sure feels like it, because FURIA have had every single thing going right in their favor, while Complexity can't seem to buy a favor even if they try.
It's true, and they have been trying. They have they've been flashing their cash at every opportunity that they have, and unfortunately for them, they just have not really been able to get a solid grip on things, at least not after that game number one, where things looked a lot closer. And that's what I was talking about before the game started in terms of these teams and what we've seen out of them. FURIA, they've hit their stride, and they have maintained that. It's a good plateau. They have maintained that all day long. And now with halfway through this match, FURIA up 2-0, Complexity, it's starting to look really scary. Cat, don't chew on that. Sorry.
I think the scariness is only continuing here, unfortunately, for Complexity, as it just kind of feels like over and over again, these big opportunities that they have had in order to try and get back into this game keep getting denied, and as soon as they do look like they're starting to get momentum, FURIA are right there to put another goal in. Over and over again, Complexity trying their best to get into the series, and FURIA doing their best to keep them out of it. Multiple opportunities for Complexity,
Ooh.
and it's always CRR that is scoring the goals and getting them back in. Soon as we think they're out of it, and a good passing play finds its hands to CRR, and that'll do it.
It's true. CRR has really stepped up in this one, and I think maybe that's where the consistency lies for Complexity, because the member that I was calling out that looked really good, and including looked really good in that game number one, it was RazeBull, and RazeBull has just kind of not really been there. So that's something that Complexity needs to kind of improve upon, is all this individual play. It can't all be done by CRR, who once again is able to peel off here and take a solo play. Actually bumps Lost off the ceiling for a bit of a redirect there. That means that RazeBull is able to move forward. AJG keeping this one alive. It's CRR who has a shot opportunity, but has to get it around Card and Yan, and is unable to do so.
RazeBull, though, follow-up chance off the ceiling. Can't quite get the cleanest second touch, but the single demo on FURIA will be enough. First player demoed on the backboard. I thought surely someone would slot in, but nobody in time, and Complexity have tied this game.
They have tied it up with almost 2 minutes left on the clock. Now, FURIA, are they capable of turning this one around, or has Complexity finally managed to, start to turn things in their direction? It is feeling really good. Complexity, they have adjusted pretty much all the basics that I was talking about, right? Their rotations look so much better. And FURIA, though, still hasn't dropped the ball, no pun intended there, right? So you can't underestimate the fact that FURIA has shown that consistency. While Complexity improves, is it enough?
I will say this definitely looks like the best we have seen Complexity, with a lot of solo plays going their favor and 50-50s like that seemingly always being won by them. So again, we talked about them matching the pace of play and matching the speed. They're not only doing that, but they're starting to throw off a little bit of FURIA, who are expecting to win these challenges a bit more cleanly than they actually are. Minutes ago here, though, FURIA still hunting to try and close this one out in regulation. A shot on target is denied. Complexity, now a chance the other way. Flick up high, Lost will deny it. Yan going to be downfield, trying to chase this one, but he's got no boost in the tank. A couple of wall dashes will keep this in the favor of FURIA. I don't think it's going to be enough. 45 seconds to go. Complexity looking fantastic, looking like their best shot to get back into the series. They win this game, who knows what's going to happen afterwards.
One of these teams is going to fall to the lower bracket, that's for sure. And we finally get to see as well who is going to make their way to the grand final. There is a lot on the line right now. Again, that first place prize, $5,000, half of the whole 10K prize pool is available to the winners. CRR with a great carry up and over. FURIA has some solid interruption here. Is Yan going to be able to get the flip reset? There it was, and it was just a little bit too far off target, plus Complexity in a nice position to defend. It does look like we might be seeing another overtime. It's a nice shot. Here's the last chance for Complexity if they're able to make a move on this one. It's CRR out of the corner over to RazeBull, but the shot is too high, and Lost is there in time. Once again, we see an OT, Bass.
Oh, Complexity starting to look solid, though, at the end of that overtime there. That shot would have been incredible had it gone on target, but instead it's actually FURIA. Look to start off the overtime with the first offense here. Bounce off the ceiling, shot on target, and that will end it. FURIA, only 12 seconds into OT. Complexity might have had momentum, but nobody's stopping a bullet like that out of Lost.
I'm pretty sure Lost has some of the best OT stats of all time. Lost has gotten so many of these OT shots, and it's just been incredible